today's conversation takes us all the way to Michigan, and we're speaking with Eric Cook, who joins us from his office. How you doing, Eric?
Good.
Nice to chat
Hello
with
from
you.
Houghton Lake and the beautiful northern parts of Michigan.
Beautiful. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's I've got some family that grew up in the area around there, but I haven't gotten a chance to hop over from Windsor to Detroit and then explore it yet. But we'll get
Gotcha.
there. We'll get there.
Cool. Good.
Eric, here's a simple question because I love to hear this because everybody's is different. Is what is the WSI origin story? How did you find yourself in this network and what kind of led you to where you are today?
Total happenstance. How's that?
Those
Which
are the best
is,
stories.
which I don't know. At some point, that's kind of been the story of my life. I didn't plan on being a banker, but I ended up at a bank. And I didn't plan on be part of the WSI agency network or certainly buying a franchise. And that happened. So I was a banker for 15 years here in Michigan. My father was a banker for 33 years. So I didn't really want to go work with my dad, but I did. Coincidentally, 30 years ago, I'd been at the bank for a couple of years and we bought a computer with a modem and it got me access to this thing called America Online, which
Which
was way before you. I can tell just by looking at you.
Yeah,
Uh,
I am aware of AOL. I'm not that young, and I know that it's just shutting down now
I
for the
have
first time. They're turning it off, the
I
dial-up
have
internet.
gray in my beard for a reason. So
Yeah.
but a college or a high school buddy of mine who also had moved back home where we grew up started a dial-up internet service provider to get people access to this thing called the information superhighway. We hung out and basically we taught each other HTML, and I launched my very first website for Marshall Savings Bank back in 1995, which was the same year WSI was founded. So our journey, even though we didn't know it at the time, was starting at the same time. And so over a 15-year career, not only did we do the bank's website a couple more times, but I started doing websites for businesses in town and customers that liked the bank's website and wanted one like it. And they were surprised that I did it, but I started a little side business. And then when I made the decision that I did not want to be the CEO for a publicly traded bank, I was signed up for a number of job search companies, and six-figure jobs was the platform that I opened an email. I saw a banner ad that said, become an internet business consultant, WSI. And I was like, that sounds interesting. So I clicked on it, got to WSI, had no idea that it was a franchise, wasn't really looking to start a business. I was more interested as a banker for 15 years, having somebody else pay me a nice salary and benefits and all that stuff. But as I learned more about what WSI was and what it was doing in the digital space, became intrigued. And my wife and I decided, why not? And so we bought a national license in 2007, started the business. And we have since, in the last 18 years now, as of the recording date of this, have grown it to a pretty substantially sized business, I would say. And we've got banks all over the country that now rely on us for their website and digital marketing and social media. And now we're starting to do AI consulting and advisory, because when I left the banking industry, they were all petrified and scared of social media.
And
And so
now,
I helped them connect the dots. And now
yeah.
I'm hearing a lot of those same concerns and fears as it relates to AI.
Hmm.
And I can stand up there and say, I've been there, I've done this, I've heard your fears before, but you all probably have a Facebook page now as a community bank, and you all will be on some form of AI at some point in the near future. So let's just do it together, not get left behind, risk it, understand it, make it secure, but not be afraid of it. And
Right.
so it's been a really fun 18 years as part of the WSI family and making an impact in the lives of our customers and the customers that they serve, which at the end of the day is really what it's all about.
Of course, absolutely, yeah, and it's interesting because you got in right at the golden age of the what's AOL, right? That's amazing that you get to
Yeah.
be boots on the ground for basically the birth of the internet, and then 18 years now with WSI, so you get to see the internet change, and then now your career sort of goes on this path. So I'm curious, how have you seen WSI itself evolve over the last 18 years?
Well, to WSI's credit, they are very open to and progressively minded. Couple just examples that pop into my head, when web accessibility became a little bit of an issue. We started getting banks receiving demand letters claiming disability discrimination, and brought this to WSI's attention, went out and found some providers that do ADA and accessibility solutions. We created a work group within the WSI ecosystem to talk about this. And that was an important issue because a number of other consultants were building websites for customers, and we certainly didn't want them being sued or put their reputation at risk. And WSI helped kind of lead the charge. It was open to the feedback from the community, and then allowed for us to muster some resources to be able to take that on. And when Web3 was a thing, and it may come back, but when the metaverse and NFTs and the blockchain, WSI was willing to listen, and we had some ICs that actually got projects with customers that were doing things in the metaverse, and we attended some conferences and we had some discussion and we put together some thought on that. That was another area where things kind of shifted, and we were able to be present if customers were there. And of course, the metaverse never really caught on commercially. It's still a very confusing place for many. But the next phase, November of 22, when ChatGPT entered the picture and everybody just lost their mind, that was another sign that WSI needed to be on board and developing our AI roadmap and being open to feedback. And some of the things that we know we do in the banking industry with policies and procedures and guidelines, bringing those in at the very early stage of our roadmap process, that maybe those weren't as formal as what they needed to be, but it was important, not just for the banking industry, but all businesses need to understand those things to protect themselves and their employees. And then rolling that into training, rolling that into use case scenarios. And once they understand it, how to use it, that roadmap has really been a community effort with corporate leading the charge, branding it. We've got our fifth edition, not addiction, although I am kind of addicted to AI. Maybe that was a Freudian slip. But our fifth edition of our ChatGPT book, and being able to produce the material that we're then providing our clients that makes us look pro grade, really knowledgeable in our area without necessarily us as consultants having to do that work, but taking our feedback and our ideas to make something beautiful that the entire network and all of our customers could really take advantage of and find useful. Right. So it's things like that that make me really proud to be part of a global organization like WSI.
Yeah, I mean, well, it stuck around for 30 years, and you don't stick around for 30 years unless you have some room to be flexible, that's for sure. And speaking of 30 years, a question that I've been having a lot of fun asking ICs and people within the network is 30 years, 30 lessons. I'm curious, what's your lesson? What's the one thing that's really you've been taught through this process, whether it's start of 18 years or 18 years later?
Yeah, I would say change is constant. You have to be willing to adapt. I have the opportunity to talk to a lot of people that are thinking about becoming part of the WSI family, and they're contemplating purchasing a franchise and what are the things that you would do over again. And this is an industry that definitely is changing, and it's changing even more now than it ever has. It is exciting to always be learning something new and to ask questions and to not, I don't want to say don't write anything in ink because you're probably going to erase it, but that's kind of what I feel like. Things are going to change and adapt over time. The other lesson that I have learned is, and even for some of the things that I've done in the banking industry, technology is important, but it's never the reason why we do something. At the end of the day, as technology focused and orientated as we are, with the ones and zeros and the hosting and the APIs and the integrations, and it's at the end of the day, it's about a business need. It's about the people that are having to produce reports, do things, and you really have to have a good understanding of the people that you work with and what their goals and objectives are. And then as a consultant, and as a partner, it's my job to come in and make sure that I understand that and then match the right tools. So the old adage of if you're a hammer, everything looks like a nail, that's not going to cut it, because there are so many different nails and screws and pegs, and that you've got to have all these different tools to be able to use. And the more complicated and complex that it gets for business owners, the harder it is for them to understand what they need to do. They really need to have a partner that can come in and spend the time to understand their organization and then connect the dots for them. And that's really where the value is. And so even when I have the privilege of being part of a graduate banking school program called the Digital Banking School. I even went into that program thinking that it would be all about fintech partners and core data centers and the people factor of a bank embracing technology and innovation and digital transformation is way more of a critical success factor than picking the right technology, because the humans are the ones that are going to have to do the work. They need to be comfortable with it. They need to understand it. And that's the same thing as it goes for digital marketing and social media and AI adoption. It's the people side of the business that surprised me of how important it is. But at the end of the day, it shouldn't have surprised me, because people are the ones that get the work done, even if you've got AI pulling the strings for you.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. I mean, tech comes and go, but people do not. So to build off of that, it's funny because you've answered pretty much all of my questions within like 3 questions. So congratulations.
We're
You're
done.
like a
Thank you very
reporter's
much for your
dream.
time. Have a good day.
Yeah, then peace out. I will leave you with a tough one, and
Oh
this
boy.
is I've one of the reasons I'm having so much fun asking this question is because I either get the same answer or a completely different one. Three people have given me the same answer, but a couple have given me totally different ones. And
All
so I'm
right.
curious, Eric,
No
if you had
pressure.
to describe USI in one word, what would it be and why?
Family.
Close, close.
So
Been a lot of collaboration. Yeah.
yeah, collaboration. And I'd probably take it a little deeper than that, because I use that term a lot. You know, I've had the privilege of speaking at conferences for WSI, and I've been blessed by receiving some awards. And I think in all of those instances, I immediately think of the family that I have, the family at head office that are there kind of making sure that the wheels stay on and everything happens. But equally important, and in some ways more, are the other associates and colleagues and ICs that are in the network. Some of my best friends are part of that network that we've come to know and trust. And I know that I can lean on them. I can collaborate with them. I'm happy to answer questions and support them. And so collaboration is certainly a part of that. But the reason that I chose family is because you feel that emotional connection to people. We're all in the trenches doing the same thing. Yeah, I'm probably one of the only ones in the network that's really focused on banking and, finance. It's got its own quirks and it's got its own challenges, but I've lived it my entire life, whether I knew it or not, even growing up in a banking household. So to me, that seems natural. But the others in the organization that are out there doing it, even though you might not be talking to other banks, you're still talking to businesses. You're still being challenged with objections. You still have problems to solve and solutions to come up with. And so, like a family, we're all there to support ourselves, or support each other, to help everybody be successful. And I had a conversation with a prospective consultant just yesterday, and he asked the question, in my area, there might be other consultants. Do you ever feel like there's maybe a saturation point? Like there's too many USI, we're going to be competing against each other. And I have never heard anyone within the network feel like they're in competition with others. If anything, we collaborate to make the impression that much more powerful, because there is certainly enough to go around when you're doing it the right way and not taking food out of the mouths of other USI consultants, but going after the other agencies and consultants and people that don't have a process, that don't have 3 decades of experience that they can bring to the table. Like you said, that's a pretty substantial accomplishment that there's not a lot of companies, especially in the tech space, that have survived the dot-com boom and bust and resisted the urge to go public and flame out like the sock puppet from petwhatever.com. We've lived that, and that creates family, because there's that journey that we've been on, whether it's somebody that's brand new and has only been part of the family for the last year, or someone that's been in it 20, 25 years, which I know there's other consultants out there that have got some of that longevity that surpasses my 18 years. So that's the word that immediately pops into my head.
Family. It's a good choice.
Thank you.
It's a tough one to top. Eric Hook, I really appreciate your insights, your
Absolutely.
storytelling.
Thanks for the opportunity.
I hope you enjoy your journey as it continues with WSI. Good luck navigating the AI boom, and we'll check in 5 years and see if it went the way of the metaverse. I doubt it, though.
I doubt it.
Yep.
It's here to stay. It's not going
Yeah.
anywhere. Yeah.
No, absolutely not.
Cool. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks for the time, man.
Yeah,
Appreciate
my
it.
pleasure.